Hello everyone, I'm standing on the edge of the Trans-Canada Highway overlooking the old Donald Townsite. It's just over 300 acres. It's a best opportunity for development of any large parcel of land that I know of. Currently it's been used for a log sort yard, but at one time it was the Donald sawmill. So that entire area right there was full of logs. There's still a lot of features down there usable with like the powerhouse, the mechanic shop, and just right there you can see that building. That's a 100,000 square foot building that was originally used for the planer building. The location can't be beat. We're at the edge of the Glacier Park, which is the Rogers Pass for all the backcountry skiing and things like that there. On the other side of the Columbia River runs just like right down here. We're going to go by that. The Wait-A-Bit River is just in that canyon right there, comes there, and the salmon should be running right about now. Again, lots of gravel values there. The entire property is flat. There's great wells. If you look right there, that's the Columbia River. But that parcel, that was a 200-acre parcel that just recently sold to Pinnacle Lifestyles, who's going to be doing the development there on that 200. And if you can look right there, you see that notch? That line follows right along here, along the edge of the gravel pit. And that's the, when you look at a map, you'll see that that's the one edge of the 300 acres, and then the other edge just wraps around the trees there and goes along the edge of the B road. We've got traffic going by. I don't know if you can hear me, but it's a good indicator of the great location. Is check your statistics, but there's something like 3 million people go through Golden every year. So to set up whatever kind of business on this property, it's just really well located. There's a rail siding there that's been deactivated, but you work something out with CP Rail, they'll get that going again. Just great industrial opportunity, residential opportunity, gravel opportunity, again, a log sort yard. We're going to go down there, drive around, look at all the little features one by one up close. And so for the drive around portion of the tour, I wanted to start right here at the Trans-Canada Highway, where it turns onto the B road, which is the old Big Bend Highway that went all the way to Revelstoke there. But when they flooded the Kinbasket Lake reservoir there, for the Mica Dam, then that got submerged, and they created the Rogers Pass. The property starts right about where that sign is over there, which reminds me I gotta change it. It still says 500 acres. There's 300 and some acres left. Though the 200-acre parcel did get sold. But from here, everything on the left-hand side is part of the property. On the right-hand side, that was purchased a few years ago, and Flying J was going to create a big truck stop there and a big development, and I'm not sure what happened with that. But see a little bit of activity there lately, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that. This is the first access road that goes into the property. It's paved, and it goes down to the old mobile home park that's there. So there's a bit of infrastructure there, some water and a septic field or two, and but currently being used for a motorcycle training facility called Ride the Vibe, and he just pays a rent there as a residential rental, and uses the property for doing little motor training, like tricks and jumps and wheelies and things like that on these motorcycles. So we've passed another access, and then there's a third access there on the the left-hand side, and yeah, still here on the property, and this road that's on the right runs right along the edge of the property. Again, with everything on the left-hand side, and then a few residential lots on the right-hand side there.
There's the scales. It's been used over the years for logs, but also gravel when they were excavating gravel from the gravel pit. We could drive straight across through there, but since this gate's open, we'll go down this way. Um, yeah, log sort yard. I think the tenant is Downey or one of their Downey Timber or one of their company names there. And sometimes this yard is right full and not so much other types. Oh, I wanted to show you this. So there was a big environmental cleanup or a reasonably big environmental cleanup 2014. That's where they put the piles that they concluded need to be, a certain distance, 500 meters or something like that, or whatever, a certain distance away from any water, open water, or drinking water, and that. So that's where they put them, and they can be spread out and used there just as long as they stay, sort of within that area. There's a map that shows specifically where they want to keep that material, and but usable, just can't be used close to the water sources there, the surface water or whatever. So again, this yard, sometimes very full of logs, sometimes nearly empty. There's a small sawmill on the property there, owned by the tenant that does the log sort. These are some of the wells, all around the property that the SLR Environmental has been working on, working towards a thing called an AIP, an application in principle, which sets out a plan for subdivision, so that they can cut this into some smaller lots, not tiny lots, but they just want to divide up the log yard from the gravel pit and the industrial buildings and that. But they'd rather sell it just as a full parcel right now, because when you go through that process, then it limits what a buyer might want to do it for a different kind of purpose. So that's the mechanic shop right there. He works on his loaders and things like that in the shop. And on the left-hand side, there used to be a whole bunch of buildings and parking and things like that. But, yeah, most of them are gone. But there's still all the concrete slabs all over, paved roads all over. Right-hand side's got some slab piles from the little sawmill that's there. And yeah, there's if you look at the left there, there's a ladder sticking out of the ground. A couple of pole sorts there. Oh, that A-frame. There's a bunch of those around too, and they have fire hydrants in them, because when you have a sawmill, there's a risk of fire quite often. That's the little mill there that belongs to the tenant. And yeah, what I wanted to show you was this ladder sticking out of the ground here. They had a leak in the water line. Way in the background there, over by where that truck's going by, is where the well is, and they were losing pressure, so they found where the spot was and fixed it, and just haven't covered up that spot. But there is a bathroom in the mechanic shop there, and the water services that. Yeah, lots of power lines, lots of transformers all over the property. There is a 600 volt 3-phase transformer on the property over by the old powerhouse, but they took out the switch for now. You'd have to get an electrician to look at that. But lots of power on the property, because when it's a sawmill, you need that power. That's the big building in the background. It used to be the planer building, concrete floors, glulam beams, and posts, and even cedar siding on one or two of the sides there. But people keep coming, and they think they're salvaging it, but I'd say they're stealing it. They just come in, and it's great for furniture and picture frames or whatever. And yeah, they've really taken a chunk out of that nice weathered barnwood cedar siding stuff. So on your right hand side, that's the rail line. The switch has been uh, um, taken from the main line that switches onto these tracks, but just because they needed to upgrade it or whatever before they put it into service, so they thought the easiest thing was just to take the switch out. But talk to CP Rail about whether or not you want to have that switch back in there, and those are the 3 or 4 main lines that go there, and then they go across the bridge over by the old Donald Cemetery that's still there, and the Golden Historical Society's done a pretty good job of, remarking the graves, and they got a map there of all the people that are buried there. But that's over by the bridge that crosses the Columbia River. There is a portion of this property that does touch the Wait-A-Bit River, but the Columbia River would be a thing, that Pinnacle is going to be developing that waterfront, and I don't know. I guess if you did a development here, you could maybe make a deal with them about a shared access, because they're going to do kind of a bunch of stuff there, recreation facilities and RV sites or something. And that it's only recently that they purchased the property, so I still think they're working on their master plan. But just from looking at some of their other developments, it's quite exciting to see what potentially they could be doing here. But yeah, once you get on the Columbia River, you still can get there. You just have to go across the Wait-A-Bit River, and there's the provincial campground right there on the other side, and that's where a lot of people go down there fishing, and you could launch a canoe or kayak or whatever, and float right down into the Columbia River or into the Kinbasket Lake, which is huge. It goes all the way up to Valemont, and oh, sorry, on the right hand side there, that was the well house there, where the water comes from that services the property at the moment. But there's other wells on the property. That's just the only one that has power to it at the moment. This is an old gravel pit. They took some material out of there, not a lot. The other gravel pits are much bigger, much more developed, on the other side of the log yard there. We'll get there eventually. Here's some of the tricks for the motorcycle training facility there, up and over the tires and on the balance beams and so on. Yeah, there's a pickup parked in the driveway. I think the owner of the school is away right now, so he may have just parked the pickup there and left it, so to restrict access for while he's away. But yeah, it's just basically a flat site. It's got a couple of tiny homes on it and a bus and things like that, CCAN and that, and a bunch of motorcycles. Yeah, back down this area. I've got an old historic map of the area, and it's kind of cool because it shows, the old dentist office and the churches and the saloons and things like that used to be on this property, and you just kind of lined it up with the old tracks there. Right in front of us probably would have been right about where the roundhouse was, where they used to turn the engines around, in this area. So if you Google Donald, BC, there's all kinds of historical photos and stories, like the stolen church and story and things like that, and some of the old settlers and pioneers that settled here. It was quite a community at one time. When it was a CP Rail yard or whatever, or a community for CP Rail. So lots of plywood on the front side here, over of the big building here, and we're going to drive right through it because it's all concrete floors and everything. That there's old rail track that goes right into the building, so they were loading lumber onto the building, or onto the trains right out of the building here. But this is what I say is, see all that cedar siding there? It's been kind of poached pretty good there. But you might want to close that back in whatever, if you're going to utilize this building. Um, let's see. Yeah, glulam beams you can see up above there, and glulam posts, and concrete floor. It was used for uh, like repackaging some agricultural materials for the last while here. So you'd bring in bulk loads and then put it into bags or whatever and sell it to farm supplies or something like that. I don't really know the details, but that's the old offices up there for that, and you could look over the whole place. There, go out the back door, but we'll yeah, maybe we'll go through the back door here, do a loop, and come back through the other bay of the shop. There's more rail line up here that went around behind the building. Again, deactivated, or at least the switch where it joins on to the property. Beautiful views from all over the property as well, looking up at the mountains. If you look in behind there, you can see some of those transformers that show the high voltage lines there. But that's not the big one. The big one's over by the powerhouse. But there's a couple old transformers. So back through the bay here, and you notice the concrete floors. And this is only 2 of the 3 big bays, and then there's 2 more smaller bays that we'll drive by as we go around the back side of the building. Metal roof. You know, it's older building, a bit in disrepair and that, but somewhat dry. Thing here worked well for the guy that was leasing the property here for the last while. So yeah, that's facing south out that way. But we'll go through the entranceway on the east side here. There's water lines all underneath that went over even to the planer building for fire suppression there. That's the old powerhouse there, and if you see just to the right of it there, that's that big green transformer there. And but there's lots of more modern transformers on all the posts there, or on the power poles, and that, and wires running everywhere. There's a water reservoir right there on the other side of that ridge. That's built up to be a water reservoir. So again, for the fire suppression for all the sawdust piles and the slag piles and that. And then there's a little gray building there on the edge of it, which was the well that serviced that lake or water reservoir there. Another one of those little A-frame things there that has a hydrant in it for water. Plywood on this side, cedar on the other side, but plywood on this side. And there's those 2 other smaller bays that are on the side of the building there, side of the big building. Also, there's lots of wildlife around here. There's ospreys and that. You can see osprey nests that were erected right beside the power lines to keep the ospreys from landing on the power lines and causing electrocutions and that. So yeah, especially when the young ones are around, it's pretty interesting. They just fly around and make a lot of noise, chirping and that. Pretty cool. Go down this way. This gets out into what used to be like the sawdust piles and stuff from the mill, and they used and picked up a lot of like there's not a lot of historical remnants or whatever from the old town. Bit of concrete, some foundation pieces and stuff like that. But for the most part, it was run so aggressively as a sawmill for many years that a lot of stuff just got buried and leveled off. Those little wells that you're seeing there, those orange things are environmental test wells, and that was from when they did the environmental report in 2014, and then they they had some reclamation at that time, but they started a new reclamation here in 2020 and had SLR come in, and they're still working on it, getting close. In the listing and in the information, I'll have a letter updating from SLR updating on how they're going along with the progress on that. But again, the whole property, it's gravel, it's flat, great opportunities for development. With 300 acres, you could have a whole town and still have enough room for, your other industrial works and stuff like that outside of that. And well located, at the end of the Highway 95 is Golden, and that goes all the way through the U.S. Then the Trans-Canada goes off to Calgary, and then in the other direction over towards Revelstoke and Kelowna, Vancouver, that way. And and this area is surrounded by parks, including the Glacier Park that's really close to this property. But there's on the other side, the Yoho and the Jasper Park and the Kootenay Park, and that all around Golden. So lots of recreation opportunities for people, that want to live here or buy here or vacation here. And we're just running along more or less the west side of the property. That's facing north now, so we're traveling north. It's pretty much along the west edge there. The gravel pit's now to our right, so we'll be circling around it. And there's a section here that I was just following the road and went back and forth across into the Pinnacle property there. But right along the property line, don't know specifically where it is. Better to see it on a map. But I just felt like having a little fun and driving through the brush here. So we'll get turned around and we'll get back on track in a second. But this is still on the property. Interesting that ball there. What it's used for was when there was like a forest fire or something like that, or you need to push over a lot of trees all at once. You would hook two big bulldozers on either side of that ball and a big cable and just drive through the forest and pull down the trees, so it was a lot easier for piling them up for burning or salvaging that. You seen the little campsite there that because of the proximity to the Columbia River over the years, locals have just been sort of coming out here, parking, camping, for a time during the summer and enjoying the property. But with the industrial activities happening around here, or in the big part of the yard, there's less of that. We kind of gated it off, and that just for public safety. Property line somewhere around here. So this is right around the edge of the property on the west side, and now we're heading south, more or less through the center of the property. Gravel pit's directly in front of us here. And but again, beautiful flat site, nice views in every direction, great development opportunity. This could be a residential area maybe, I don't know, whatever your plans might be in that. But gravel is a pretty lucrative business, and there's a lot of it here. So there's some sieve tests and that I can share with you and show you that. And there's a few crush piles left, but they, from time to time they do some extraction and sell off some pit run and some of the crush, but no big project happening at the moment nearby, so only a little bit gets sold off here. But I really got to show you, like, the pit. Like, we're at the upper level of the property, like the flat part of the property, which is sort of natural grade created by the probably outflow from the Wait a Bit river, because it's so gravelly. I don't expect the Columbia River would bring down this kind of material. But so we'll up at this level. These are some piles of crush that have been processed over the years, and then we go down to the another level where they did some extraction and process some gravel, and then there's even another level below this one, just to give you an idea of really how deep this gravel goes. I can't even imagine how much material is here that you could excavate out. But, this is the second level down, and then even one more level down below this one. This is looking west. That's the Trans-Canada Highway there in the distance that goes Revelstoke. About an hour and a half or an hour and 15 minutes from here is Revelstoke, but it goes to the Glacier Park, which isn't too far away, and that's where a lot of that backcountry skiing happens, and hiking and things like that in the summer. But, see, quite a bit of material's been taken out, but quite a bit more. A lot of it was used for the Donald Bridge improvement, which is right on the one edge of the property there. As you cross the bridge, you can look back and see the big planer building and things like that there. So now we're looking east or northeast, and heading off this way, and heading back towards the log yard, which is more or less the old log yard is directly in front of us, that had logs piled up during the heyday of the Donald sawmill. But the part that they're using now as the log sort yard is now directly in front of us. And we're just going to go up this little hill past another crush pile or sand pile that's there. All really well, groomed roads, smooth roads, just because of the native material that's here. So you see a log sorter there, a log loader. That's some sand there, but over in the distance there's a bit of sawdust and things like that there, but not much. Mostly become pretty organic by this time. It's been a long time since the mill was in operation, and an even longer time since the old town was here. But some remnants, like I say, the old cemeteries there, and that's been subdivided off and belongs to the Golden Historic Society there, and that's just a little walk from here, not too far away. But now heading back towards, we're going to just follow this road down a little bit and wrap around the north side of the property, and I'll show you the Wait a Bit river and some of the trees that are still there, and that not too much timber left on this property, but a few just for aesthetics that are down by the river. Little roads all over the property, because like I said, these used to be haul roads, or they had big loaders moving logs around all of this property, so super compact, from the big machines running over it for many years. Oh, see that road? It just keeps going straight. If you look at a map, you'll see that there's like crisscrossed roads all throughout the property at that part, and that goes right over to the road that borders the north end that we're going to drive along. But we're going to circle around this way to get there, just because, like I said, didn't really want the public coming in because of the risk with the big machines moving around, so we ditched along the edge of the little public road. Didn't completely cut them off. They made a public road so that people could drive right down to the waterfront prior to Pinnacle buying the property. So now it's up to them if they want to let the public go down there, but the road still exists. And yeah, people go down there to go fishing and things like that, or at least they used to. But yeah, just trying to keep them out of the industrial part of the property for their own safety. We're going, yeah, kind of west this way, and that's, yeah, if you see in the very, very, very far distance, that would be the Kinbasket Lake. There, huge water reservoir goes all the way up to Valemont, and you know, there's lots up there. Bush Harm, Susan Lake, Blackwater Lakes, Chatter Creek, cat skiing is up that way as well. A few backcountry lodges over there as well. Lots of ATVing and, you know, hiking, biking, you know, what have you. This is right at the very edge of the property on the west side. So as we go down this little road, we're going to turn, and you see up on that pile there, on that gravel pile, there's the property corner. So that's the corner that divides the Pinnacle property, the 200 acres at the Columbia River, from the 300-acre old Donald Townsite. And now this is a little road that more or less goes along the north side of the property. And I'm not sure if you can see, but we're down closer to, oh, there's another well for the environmental testing that they recently did. SLR, very reputable environmental company doing all that work there. So so this road's down closer to the level of the Wait a Bit River, but to the right there, it's goes up at quite a steep slope, up maybe 25 feet or whatever is the level of the gravel pit and the old town site and the log yard and everything like that. Yeah, it's 25, 30 feet or whatever higher than this little road that we're driving along here. Going a little slower because this road's bumpier than the roads up above that have been, like I say, super compacted. This was just recently graded, so a lot of the bigger aggregate or whatever came to the top and made it a little bit bumpy. But that's the road. Keep going straight and you go right out back to the B road, or the Big Bend Highway. That's the way the public comes down there, or they used to with their boats or whatever, to come to the Columbia River there. But I'm going down this way. This is an old access road of some sort that didn't get graded so much, but it goes down to the Wait a Bit River here, and we're going to see if we can see some of these kokanee salmon that spawn this time of year. And a big reason why there's such good fishing at the mouth of the river, or anywhere in the river right now, is the char or the Dolly Varden come and feed on the kokanee. So you know, it's pretty good fishing down there. And if there's any timber on the property, pretty much this is where it is. There's a few trees on the right hand side there, but not much. Probably not worth, you know, harvesting or whatever, because this is the most likely area to develop, you know, as a residential area for some nice lots looking over the Wait a Bit River. The property is on both sides of the road at this point, but there is also a piece of landlocked crown land there that the property wraps around. So the only access to it is via the property. So you've got kind of exclusive use of that piece of crown land there. So I'm going to park here with the truck and not go too close to the river, and just take the camera and walk along right up to the river. So I'll show you. See in the distance there, that's one of the property pins. That white stake straight in front there.
That's it. That's the Wadabit Creek, or river, whatever you call it, right there. I'm gonna pop over and see if there's some.
Give you a little bit closer look here. So you
Just
see
one
that there's a ribbon hanging over it there.
property corner.
That's the
right
pin.
there.
And then the other one,
The other one,
I'll point it out. It's up on top of that ridge there. And we'll see if we can get close and see where the ribbons are
here on the edge of
there. So it kind of, it's right on the edge of the river here, and when you look at a map, you'll see a jog in where the river has sort of carved out the property line and created, where the edge of the property will be designated by the edge of the river. It's beautiful, clear, mountain stream here. There's a few kokanee in there, but some years there's a whole lot. That's the Wadabit River campsite down there. You see the bridge that crosses the crosses the Wadabit at the top of your screen there. But the fish here, they just kind of lay in these little pools here, and that's kind of cool to see. Now, let's see if we can see the other property corner here. It's on the top of that ridge there,
the gravel that's on the
somewhere.
property.
But that just shows you how,
much of it there is.
much higher the level of the ground
you see
is.
that pink ribbon right there?
So you see the pink ribbon that's right there. I'll see if I can zoom in. There is right there. There's the pink ribbon, and then right below it is a property stake.
Yeah,
so
right
that cuts across from there. It goes down the bank
straight down,
and kind of wiggles around right along the edge of the river, and then goes to that stake there, and then it's more or less a straight line from there. And then there's a piece of crown land that is between the river and the property there. That's it. One more look at the Wadabit River. If you're wondering, what I did was I mounted the camera on this special thing called a gimbal on the front of the SUV here, and then I just drive around, and then I was trying to narrate as I drove, but it didn't work, so I'm narrating it as I watch the video. Hope I'm not missing too much stuff, just little things that come to mind, and then definitely verify the accuracy of what I'm saying there. I got the maps, I got environmental reports, all that kind of stuff like that. This is looking south, right across the property. Way off in the distance there would probably be the big building over there. But we'll carry on along the north side of the property. And if you remember, when we were down by the river, this is on the top of that ridge, which is 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet higher than what the river level is. So not much risk of flood up here, and it's just flat from here all the way over to the log yard and the gravel pit and all the way around. A little bit of regen here. Some trees have grown back, and that's so this road's well hidden from the log yard, which was the idea by putting it over here, so that if locals or tourists or whatever wanted to use this little road, then they wouldn't find their way into the log yard where or even know it was there. I think that was the idea. In selling the 200 acres, just the potential that there could be a road poked along the edge here that bypasses any industrial activity that's happening over there. Just have to readjust my camera a little bit there, and so you're seeing everything. We were actually quite close to the northeast corner of the property here. Just goes up a little bit, and at the end of the road where it reaches the B road is just up around the corner. But I think we're going to detour over the rocks and up the quad trail there back into the property. We were making an effort to restrict people from driving pretty much exactly where I'm going to drive, but I wouldn't recommend it because bump the camera. We'll just have to reset it here, and then we'll be off again. Kicking Horse Mountain Resort would be just where the camera was pointed a second ago there. And across on that side of the valley, that's the West Bench Trail that goes all the way from Golden to Quartz Creek, the snowmobiling area. So that's a snowmobile trail on that ridge on the other side of the there. But in between us, there's the highway, the river, the Columbia River, and then Wiseman Lakes are up there, and then over there is trails, like 40 kilometers of snowmobile trail that's all groomed every winter, and it goes between Golden, Gorman Lake, and Quartz Creek snowmobiling areas there, and then all the different valleys in between that they ride. So big recreation opportunities all over here in Golden, and more to come. Like that's becoming quite a recreational hub here. But here we're just driving through different connecting roads. Like I say, they crisscross like a checkerboard through the whole property, but we're just cutting over from one to the other. That's that road right there that goes up the edge of the property over to the B road, but it's blocked off with a big log there so that people stay on the government road rather than using that private road that's there, even though it's paved. Or is it paved? Or it's good gravel road and that, but yeah, it's detouring the traffic or whatever that stay on the paved road, on the Big Bend Highway road or the B road. You can start to see in the distance the piles of logs there. On the right hand or the left hand side there's a power pole with a transformer on it, so there must have been a building there at one point. It looks it's disconnected, but there's a power pole and a transformer there. Just giving you a show of how flat the property is all over, and easy to develop, build roads, driveways, whatever you need to throughout the property. There's the big building in the distance, 100,000 square feet. And again, there's that transformer on the pole there, and right behind it is the weigh scales. We'll get back to the road that's primarily used to get through the property is right here at the end of this this access road. And different log sorts there. Might have to go unlock the gate because I think the guys are gone for the day, packed up, and they close the gates and lock them when they're done for the day. That's just a thing for leaning logs up again against when it was a sawmill. I don't think they use it too much anymore, but then they get to pile the logs just that much higher. But we're going around the scales to see if we can use the access road before they lock the gate. And if not, we'll just have to find a key and go out the other way. So that gate's closed, which closes the one for the scales as well. So we're just going to go around to the other access road that's on the north side of the scales and unlock the gate and go through that way. That's some kind of a stopper for logs. You rest logs up against it or something like that. It's not really a building or anything like that, just some big logs buried in the ground. But this is the access road that goes around the scales. It's usually locked. So I'm very aware that this is a long video, but I just wanted to show you every part of it, and I'm repeating myself quite a bit. But just to show there's no hidden aspects of the property. There's everything's written in the environmental reports, and yeah, regional district. There's no zoning. There's a little portion that's part of this, what they call the Trans-Canada Highway 1 zone, but that's way over there by the where the motorcycle training facility is. The rest of the property is, yeah, and even that zoning is called all allowed uses or something like that. So you just gotta talk to the CSRD and see what that means, what you want them to develop. It's a very small area that's within 500 meters of the Trans-Canada Highway that just limits what you can do there. But the rest of the property, no planning, no zoning, no bylaws. Yeah, you can develop it the way you want. So this is the B road. That road goes up to the Copper Creek and Abitibi and things like that. But I wanted to show you this. This is a very long road. It's like 150 kilometers up the old Big Bend Highway before it ends at the Sullivan River. But those are some of all the little activities that are on this road. Susan Lake and the Blackwater. Chatter Creek does the cat skiing up there in Chatter Creek. It's a nice valley up there. But they have their shop here where they maintain their snowcats and even fly the helicopter. The helicopter lands to take their guests up to the Chatter Creek Lodge. So this is the road that delegates the property. The property corner is right near that power pole there, and that's the little road that we were driving up where we come back to if we were to keep coming in back to get to this road. This is the little bridge I tried to point out to you. It's just on that crosses the Wait-A-Bit River, or Wait-A-Bit Creek, whatever it is. Single lane bridge, but beautiful canyon on the right hand side. Sorry I didn't pan the camera over that way, but that's where I seen some of those bright red kokanee salmon. It was when I drove across this bridge and looked down. And yeah, I just wanted to give you a look from this side, like looking like this is off the property, but when we look across the Wait-A-Bit River, we can see the property from the other side. So just a different aspect to show you. The Wait-A-Bit campground, provincial campground, is directly in front of us, and we're just going to turn here and go down one of the access roads that gets there. Oh, there's also Marl Creek Provincial Park just ahead of us there too. And the Blue Water River is down there. That's a beautiful place and a good place to go fishing, where it meets the Columbia River. But this is one of the access roads, not the main access that goes down to the campground, but a way to get down to the river. And then that's the property directly in front of us is that little curve in the river that was the property. And then to the right is that Crown land portion that's sort of landlocked away. So we're just going to spin around here. Again, the land's there. That's the Crown portion right there. And then where it meets the Columbia River right there, that's what Pinnacle bought. And is going to do their development down around that area. Quite excited about that. There's a big sand pit on the other side of the road, on Crown land. Not sure if it's on a lease or what it is, but they extract quite a bit of sand over there. So back we go. This is just heading back to the Trans-Canada Highway on the B road. Maybe this angle will give you a better look at the cool Wait-A-Bit Canyon. It's up there. Yeah, somewhat. Across a single lane bridge. Oh, this is me looking for salmon, kokanee, see if I can see any from here. And I did. Just a few. So Donald used to be quite a community. Even when the sawmill was here, there was a lot of houses here and trailer parks and things like that. But yeah, Golden's grown quite a bit. There's that big log that crosses there, but yeah, that's the road that designates the edge of one edge of the property. It just circles down to where the waste mills are. And then it goes back and it goes to this road is the edge of the property, the Big Bend Highway or the B road. And it used to go straight. To get to the Trans-Canada, you used to be able to go straight. But there's a bunch of houses down that way, and a trailer park. And then also back by the highway there's the log building school, very popular thing, for people learn, do an 18-month course or something like that, or 8-month course, I don't know, on how to build log homes. And he's very booked up, popular course. People like it a lot. So there you see the property in the background there, the big building and the weigh scales and so on. That's one of the access ones. That's one of the gates that was closed. And this is the paved portion of the road. Properties all along there on the right-hand side. And also curious to see what's going to happen on the left-hand side there with that subdivision. Well, they made some applications with the regional district to do, subdividing and things like that. I don't know the details of it, but the numbers and the dates are on that there when they were negotiating with the regional district about what they were going to do there, and hopefully it's still going to happen, but I have no idea. What they're doing there. I did see a drill rig out there drilling some water wells or something there a little while ago. So hopefully things going on. I guess there's a bit of timber here on the right-hand side as well, but I would take it that it's a tree buffer between the property and the road here. And yeah, here we are at the now what would this be? The northeast corner. So I guess that other one would be the southeast corner. I don't know. But yeah, there's the sign that shows the edge of the property, and it just goes along this this through cut and right down to the railway tracks, and then turns and goes off to darn near to the Columbia River. So that's it. That's the old Donald Townsite, or the Donald Mill site. It's a great opportunity for development. It's got the big gravel pit, big log sort yard, big building, some residential, bordering the Wait-A-Bit Creek or river, bordering a CP rail line, on the Trans-Canada Highway. It's not too far from Revelstoke. The Glacier Park is there, where they do the Rogers Pass and the backcountry skiing and all the hiking and things like that. We've got Marl Creek Provincial Park. It's not far up the B Road or the Big Bend Highway that goes all the way to Kinbasket Lake, Susan Lake, Blackwater, and Jeb, all those up there. Lots of trails and just all kinds of recreational activities and that up that way. Yeah, we got logging here, we got mining, we got all kinds of stuff around Golden, which isn't very far away either. And that's at the beginning of the Highway 95. So this could be a great location for a transportation hub. Just who knows? Yeah. So if you got any questions, just give me a call or an email, and I'll send you surveys and the plans and everything I have. Anyway, thanks for watching, and again, give me a call anytime if you got questions.